by the way, we've tried various kinds of synchronization things of clapping at one and stuff, and it never works. It's always wrong for somebody. So all right, ready? Maybe like a 3. Hey everyone, welcome to CTF Radio. I'm Adam D, and I'm here with Zardus as always.
Hey everybody.
And we have a really exciting episode today. So what are we going to talk about today, Jan?
We are going to talk about the very height of the CTF scene by chatting with an amazing team that dominated DEF CON qualifiers this year and won DEF CON finals as well.
And by this year, you mean?
By this year, for those watching in the
it's going to be here
future,
for
I mean 2020.
Yeah.
DEF CON 28.
Yeah, DEF CON 28, Team AoE placed first place in DEF CON quals and first place in DEF CON finals after, as we've mentioned, and was a kind of, both were very COVID affected events. We had to delay quals because COVID hit right when we were kind of gearing up for things. And so
right during it is like, how do we write challenges and how do we get enough toilet paper?
Yeah, seriously. And how do we teach online? My class went completely
that's right.
online in the middle of the semester. And so that was kind of a craziness. And then with the additional craziness of COVID for finals, DEF CON was in safe mode, which meant that it was completely virtual. So how did the game adapt to that, Jan?
So we did a number of things. One, of course, everything had to be online.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not so insane for a CTF. There are plenty of online CTFs. But for DEF CON finals, it's very different, right? Usually everyone sits in, one gigantic room
mm-hmm.
where there's a table per team and the AC is extremely cold, as many people throughout history have complained. And it's just quite a extreme experience. And this year it was all online. Everyone was remote from their homes. Most teams weren't able to actually gather even just as a team together. And the other thing was that everyone was spread out all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
As part of that, obviously. So what we had to do is, as we've talked about a lot, invent the mythical 17-hour workday. There would be 8 hours of hacking and 9 hours for sleep, and then 8 hours of hacking and 9 hours for sleep. We did that
sleep
to make
in quotes, right? I'm putting sleep
exactly
in quotes because
no one slept, not the organizers, not the players. Yeah,
it's just like
Adam,
non-game time was the main factor.
Yeah, where we could shut down and we would work on getting ready the next shift of the competition, and the teams would work on preparing exploits and all of this.
Right.
We did this to be fair for time zones, right?
If what does that mean, fair to time zones? So it sounds brutal no matter how you slice it, right?
It is extremely brutal. If we ran DEF CON the normal way, where we start DEF CON CTF, where we start the network, the competition in the morning and we end it in the evening, Las Vegas time, this would be extremely good for teams that are in the United States. It would be much, much worse for teams, for example, in Europe, and it would be a complete disaster for teams in Asia because in Asia, they would have to be playing fully in the middle of the night, every night. So shifting their sleep schedule just for that event, just for the Asian teams, it represents a significant decrease of fairness in some sense. We would have penalized heavily certain teams just based on where they were connecting from. So we figured out a way to make it equally painful for everybody. So this
spread the pain around.
This design that we created, guaranteed that everyone suffered, but people suffered more or less equally. It was the most equal that we could create.
Great.
So as we discuss this final event, also keep in mind that people weren't just hacking novel challenges. They were also dealing with a very novel schedule.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so this threw kind of, a big wrench into things. Plus, one of the big differences, which maybe we'll talk about a little bit, is the networking setup, right? So it's usually you show up at the finals event, we give you a network cable, you plug that in and now you're part of the game, right? So, but this had to be completely virtual. So we gave people a jump box, which had a WireGuard VPN setup into our VPN. And then that's how we wanted the game to work. But that probably added additional challenges to teams because they needed to set up their own infrastructure for their own teams.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of, on the other hand, they didn't have to carry servers with them to Las Vegas, right? So it's this trade-off that everyone kind of...
I think we're the only people that do that, though. I don't think the teams bring the servers to Vegas.
Some teams do. I not to kind of steal the thunder in case AU wants to brag about it, but in not this year's DEF CON, but last year, DEF CON 27 in 2019, they brought like a professional looking web camera to observe the game floor. That was
I think they really just wanted to see you and hear your announcements, but that's my theory.
True. Yeah, and if maybe that's very possible.
And as we know, the problem with bringing servers is sometimes you drive a U-Haul truck from Phoenix to Vegas, and when you get there, you realize the wheels have fallen off of your server rack, while you're waiting to unload it in front of Caesars. So
yeah, maybe we can.
That's a story for another day, for sure.
That is definitely a story. Because, that and the social engineering required.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that part. But of course, the people are not here to hear us talk about things. Yeah. They're here to meet with some of the amazing people behind the legendary hacking team, A star, O star, no, 0 star E. I thought I was going to get that perfectly right. So, Jan, why don't you help me clap these nice gentlemen in?
Absolutely. I just have to
use your hands. You don't need to do the thing. Okay, you're going to get it.
I don't have to do the thing. I do the thing. I have a soundboard. This is high tech.
Yeah, it's not like we can easily add sound effects in post-production. He likes to just put it in right now.
It's more authentic this way.
Cool. So, yeah, so we have with us Silver, Gengming, Tianyi, and Hui Shin, and they're going to be here today. And I'm super apologize to all of you and to everyone out there who's listening to this for me butchering names. So Silver, you want to go first and introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Silver, and I'm one of the DevOps guy from the A0E.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So A0E. Yeah, that's a good way to standardize on the name of the team that you want.
Yeah, or AoE if you want.
Awesome. Perfect. And can you maybe we can get to know you a little bit better as you introduce yourself. So could you maybe tell us about how you first got into Capture the Flags?
Yeah. The first time I got to the CTF is about in my university, and I'm in the second year of my university, and one of some of my classmates says this thing is cool and I should join in. But I think maybe Tianyi have more charming perspective about his CTF journey.
All right.
Okay. Well, then there we go. Yeah. Tianyi, you want to introduce yourself and then talk about your CTF journey?
Okay. Hi. I'm Tianyi. So, I'm I'm the first captain of Team AoE, and now I play as a coach. And Gengming is now the captain, and Hui Shin is the vice captain.
Cool.
Yeah. The first time I played the CTF, as I remember, it was my second year of graduate school. Mm-hmm. And at that time, the concept of CTF just started in China.
What year was this? Do you remember?
2014, I think.
Okay, cool.
And at that time, Team Oops was recruiting new people. Mm-hmm. So they hosted an internal CTF game. I played that game, and luckily I got the first place.
Amazing.
Yeah. Then I become a member and a CTF player of Team Oops, and started my CTF journey.
Awesome. So you're hooked for life at that point, then.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay. That's very cool. So were you in Shanghai?
Yes.
For your university? Awesome.
Yes. Shanghai Jiao Tong University.
Yeah. I visited there for the first was it the first OCTF? There was definitely the first OCon.
Yes.
Zero. Ocon.
Zero Con, or 2015 or 16, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It was amazing. Also, there's a place I'm sure you know near the university called I think it's Yang's Dumplings.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible. I still wake up dreaming about those dumplings sometimes. It's absolutely awesome. I'm sure it's just like a chain or something all over the place in Shanghai, but it was great.
Well, maybe
I could actually
safe to travel again, we can come visit these guys in China.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to do a live episode from there and from Yang's. Just the Yang's Dumplings episode.
CTFs, HitCon had Capture the Food one year.
That's right.
CTFs and food go right hand in hand. Awesome.
Yeah, I think you are not the only one. I remember when we go to the Google CTF and talk with the other teams, they also remember the dumplings in Shanghai.
That's awesome. Yeah,
yes.
Those dumplings were incredible.
All right, so Gengming, you want to introduce yourself or just talk about dumplings some more?
So I'm now the captain of the AoE, and do you guys know what does the AoE mean?
I don't. Why don't you pretend like I don't, and so you can teach me?
Yeah, we have 4 teams in this is a union team, and we have 4 teams. So the Tianyi is from the is graduate in Shanghai Jiao Tong University, and it is Oops. I think you know the team. Oops.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm from the I'm from the Zhejiang University, and my team is the triple A. Yeah. And I have the similar experience, but I only won the 2nd place in the ACTF, and then I joined the CTF. Yeah.
Amazing. That's that's
when I
great.
was I think it's also in 2014. Yes.
2014. So in 6 years, you and Tianyi have gone from what is CTF to if it wasn't in safe mode to standing at the award ceremony receiving the badges, but to getting mailed black badges
at some point
from DEF CON. Yeah. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that is amazing. And I think, hopefully we can talk a little bit about, the journey and tips for how people can go from, first CTF and then 6 years later winning DEF CON. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So what about you, Hui Shin?
Hi, I'm Hui Shin.
Hey.
And I'm also started playing CTF at around 2014. Yeah. And I'm from Fudan University, the team 6 stars. This 2 stars in the AoE team. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So you contribute more than either Oops or the A or the E, right? They're only 1 letter each, but you have 2.
Yes. Yes, the character is smaller than other characters, so they have 2.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Cool. Yeah. So I think the real reason why we're here is not just because you guys are, amazing hackers and amazing winners, but we're, really here because we all love CTFs, right? So can you, why do you like, if somebody could talk about, we can go in turns about what, why do you like playing CTFs? Because I'm sure you could say it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, right? Especially over those 4 years. 6 years. And so why do you do that? Why do you like playing CTF?
Okay, so
please.
For me, I think playing CTF, I can learn a lot of new stuff and new technologies and a lot of knowledges that you cannot learn from your textbook.
Yeah, I think that's something that we hear actually a lot, and we say a lot. CTF is a game of learning, and not just learning. There's a secondary thing of learning to learn, right? Because
exactly.
You aren't just faced with one new concept. You're faced with concept after concept after concept after concept. We talked about this crazy time schedule of DEF CON CTF this year. I mean, every 17 hours, you would have to learn, let's say, completely new challenges and ideas. And it'd be interesting to see, which set of challenges you guys worked on over the course of the game. If you jumped from AI to reversing a crazy parallel machine to all sorts of crazy stuff. Yeah. Anyways, let's keep going on topic though.
Yeah. Anybody else have any thoughts on why they like playing CTFs?
So actually,
Yeah,
for me, yeah, you please, you first. Yeah.
You first.
Oh, this is how remote communication works. Everyone is with other people. Yeah. So okay. For me, CTF for me is more about what I like to do is reverse engineering. I'm glad to be an observer instead of someone who writes the exploit or find bugs. I just want to watch how it works and think about what I can do to affect its behavior. Yeah, and I think CTF is one of the most interesting way to do this.
Yeah, awesome. Gengming,
that is actually super interesting. The desire, basically, it's you enjoy learning about a system, right? In a similar way that people enjoy learning about new concepts, but it's kind of depth instead of breadth, right? You take one system, you understand it perfectly, so perfectly that you can figure out how to influence it, like you said,
right?
Yeah, because those people who learn physics very well in their university life tell me that everything's behavior is determined by how its atoms are sorted. So I think it's also works for the computer system.
It's something that actually always strikes me as very interesting, that computing has these very well-defined rules, right? That you know exactly what every assembly instruction does. There's no question there. And yet somehow in combination, mystery arises.
This is how you can reach the infinity within infinity set.
Exactly.
Thank
you. This is awesome.
The other thing I was going to say is like Conway's game of life, right? You have complexity that emerges from seemingly simple rules, right? From seemingly simple instructions. You can make these insane, very complicated and difficult to understand programs. But at the end of the day, if you spend enough time and effort on it, you can understand it, right? So I think there's something very satisfying there, because like, oh, I do understand this thing. It's not beyond my grasp. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Okay. For me, I really enjoy playing with my excellent teammates, and I also enjoy competing with the other teams and this really the genius. Yes, and I really enjoy it.
What a great captain response. I like that a lot, right?
Exactly.
You can see why you're the captain. We
have the rush of learning, the rush of deep understanding, and the rush of teamwork,
friendship,
and friendship, sport. That's awesome.
So you don't CTF for the food? Is that?
That's what I was about to say. We got one thing.
Dumplings.
The favorite. Yeah.
Actually, I just mentioned everything.
I think.
Actually,
just like Yang said, CTF pushes you to learn new knowledges very fast, and when you can apply those knowledges in the practice and to solve these challenges, you will feel a very strong sense of achievement when you submit the flag.
Exactly.
That's the most happy thing.
Best feeling in the world, right?
Yeah. I think of this as the rush of mastery, right? Like you have mastered something, and it's hard to replace. So I'm teaching a course at ASU of undergrads, and I'm giving them extra credit to play in CTFs. 1% of extra credit a weekend. And all they have to do is they have to try their hardest, and they have to write a write-up and submit that write-up. And I was reading write-ups, and some of them, you could just tell through the words, like, how amazed they were at having captured a flag. Like, after, these are, very early stage security people, and let's say after 40 hours of, reversing 100, they get the flag, and they're like, so it's absolutely that mastery. You get that flag, and it's a very irreplaceable feeling.
And like CTF has this very unique aspect that Gengming mentioned, right? Where it's the, competition. And so you have collaboration among your teammates that helps drive you forward, right? You maybe want to keep pushing on a problem because your friends and your teammates are also working on that, and you're bouncing ideas off each other. And at the same time, like you said, your competitors, right? Your competitors are, there's other people out there that are working on this, and they're not going to stop getting that flag. So you better do everything you can to get that flag, right? Yeah, that was great.
It's a great combination of these things in ways that I think, there were other, before CTF, and aside from CTF, there were other competitions of skill in computing. Right, there's algorithmic competitions. There's the demo scene, right, where they create cool art that tries to go within some constraints, and then there's even vaguely related. There's speedrunners, but I think CTF captures kind of the fresh pieces of everything, right? Yeah,
that's great. Okay, cool. So maybe now we can think about. Focus in on AoE, the team, right? So how is it created? I think we have a little bit, we touched on that a little bit. Maybe you can give us a little bit more background, like, how is it created? Who was involved? How long have you all been a team?
Okay, so Team AoE actually was founded back in early 2017.
Okay.
And as a union team.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, we consist of 4 CTF teams in China. So the Tencent, EEE AAA, and OOPS, and AAA, and 6 stars.
At some point, I do want to know what all those team names mean. We don't have to do that now, but
okay.
I think that would be a very fun thing to do.
Okay, so actually, most of our team members, they come from Tencent EEE team, and they are also security researchers.
Okay.
In Tencent King Lab. Yeah, and actually, our team are strongly and encouraged and supported by our mentor or boss, Wu Shi.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so team's been around for about 3 years. And so I guess another maybe follow-up would be roughly how do people join AoE? What's the process like for new members? Do you just have to, do you host your own mini CTFs like how some of you got in through the OOPS CTF?
Yeah, so actually I think one of the main purpose for building this AoE team is trying to gather the most talented people and to create the best CTF team in China.
Mm-hmm.
And except Tencent EEE, they are all working people, and the other 3 teams are university teams, so whose members are university students.
Right.
And many of our team members and many of our security researchers in Tencent King Lab, actually they used to play CTF in these 3 teams in their school days.
Oh, cool.
So in a sense, it's similar to
professional sports is what I was going to say, but yeah.
Oh, go ahead. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I was going to say it's almost like, in the US we have like for football, for example, like American football, right? We have the professional teams, and then you don't just go from high school to a professional team as an 18-year-old. You go to a university first, you play football there for 4 years, and then the best people there then make it to the professional teams. I'm not offending any of the other teams out there, hopefully, but that sounds like an interesting model, right? Where
sounds like that.
Cool.
And maybe that's called an echelon
there you go.
style.
Yep.
Yes,
that's cool.
It's an interesting model that is also repeated in CTF a little bit, but not quite as. I don't think I've ever heard it so flowy, right, into a security group in industry. I know that a lot of alumni from RPI-Sec still play with RPI, and alumni from RPI still play with RPI-Sec. A lot of alumni from Carnegie Mellon still play with PPP. So the alumni of universities playing together with the university is something that happens a lot in CTF. But the interesting thing here is you have 3 universities, and a lot of the alumni of those went to one security group and kind of, in some sense, formed the glue to combine these teams. And I mean, not to jump ahead, but DEF CON CTF, it was insanely close. I mean, there were 2-point difference, right? So you needed every bit of talent you could squeeze out, and every bit of talent that your opponents could squeeze out mattered, right? And so this glue was this teamwork that I guess arose as a result of this structure was absolutely critical. That's super cool to hear, because the human factor in these things often gets lost in the face of just the raw technical ability.
People just assume you can throw a bunch of hackers together and, just like Jan said, just squeeze some flags out, right? But I'm sure you all could tell us that that's not the case, right? You actually have to have people who work together and probably like and trust each other, and it's not just a matter of getting flags.
It's super cool.
Cool. Then maybe we can start go ahead, please.
I just want to say that for university students, it's really easy to form a small group for Actually, in many universities in China, they have some in-school small security groups, and they will form small teams to play CTF. I think it's pretty interesting. The CTF is becoming much more popular since I think in China maybe since 2014 or 15.
And it's definitely something you see more and more from outside of China. You see XCTF pop into the news, for example, and it's which is a Chinese CTF league, basically, right? And that's a very cool thing to see. That doesn't quite. It exists in a couple of places. HitCon is kind of like that in Taiwan, and Ru CTF is kind of like that in Russia. But it's a very cool thing to see, and it arose within the last couple of years. So I actually have a question that as you talk about essentially 4 groups coming together to create this world-class team. Team requires teamwork. How do you approach you want to compete in DEF CON, both the quals and the finals. How do you cohere the team so that people work together and people feel like a team? And then how do you approach DEF CON quals, and then how do you approach an attack defense versus a Jeopardy style CTF, which DEF CON finals, of course, is attack defense?
Maybe we can take those one by one.
Yeah, so let's take them one by one. How do you cohere a team? Four groups of people, and obviously you're all talk to us as a single unit. How did that happen?
Okay, I'll start. And yeah, the attack and defense is totally a different game, and we know that in DEF CON this year, and we have more than 30 challenges in the course in 2 days, and we have only 10 challenges in the finals. So so we have more people for each challenge. So I think the cooperation and the communication is the most important, and we also have the different team members, and so this is the I think the most important thing when we prepare for the DevCon, yes. I think as Tianyi said, like me, I'm from the AAA, so I'm so they are so I know that my the students in Zhejiang University very well, and so I can lead them to do something. Yes, and in the first half of the season, yeah, I call it the season from the one the DevCon end and the next year start. Yeah, we the players in Tencent King Lab, and we are experienced because we have maybe 4 or 5 years DevCon experience, and so we go back to the school and to help the the young generation, the young guys to grow up, and so we can communicate with them, and we know each other better. And I think in the May this year we have so many awesome competitions like the Applied CTF and the DevCon course, and we join together and we practice and we do it in the real communication, and we know each other. And the I think it's about 2 weeks before the DevCon finals, and we start our training. Yeah, yes, we have the internal training. Yes, and we separate our team into the 6 groups, and the groups fight with each other, and just like the just like the DevCon finals, the attack and defense. Yeah, and
awesome.
we also actually we also find some cooperation issues in the past several years. I'll give you an example. We don't know when the organizer will release a new challenge, and I think most people always don't like to move to the new challenge since they have already make lots of efforts on the current one. So in the past several years, we always met such the issues when the new challenge released, and we have very few people to move to the new challenge, and we lost a lot of scores. Yes, and so this year we also prepare for such the situation. We in our training we also play as one team, and we release the challenges one by one and in a random time, and so we can and we can prepare for it. Also, we have we set up a headquarters, like the command center, and we have a new role. Like the commander, and Tianyi is the head of the commander.
The commander.
Yeah, and he because yes, and he has to take care of the overall situation and to give the better arrangement for the each challenges and each people. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So you have kind of this command structure, and then I think that's a great example of understanding CTF playing psychology, right? Because like you said, if you've invested time into a challenge, it's very difficult because everyone, we call this at Shellfish, we call this CTF close, where you think that you're close to getting a flag, but you're actually not, right? You're CTF close. You're like, I've almost got it. Like, I'm not going to switch to something else.
Maybe another
that's amazing.
Job of the commander. Actually, in this, we are using Discord internally, and the commander channel is named in commander. So the commander is also responsible for call different people to do different things. Maybe Tianyi could introduce more about it later. And actually, we also use some voice meeting softwares. So, this year we cannot hear attention teams by others. Yeah, so we are using the voice meeting software to provide our own attention teams.
That's great.
You should do it right now, Jan. You didn't get to do it at all this year.
That's right.
Would you like to give us one good attention teams?
Attention teams!
I'm going to have a record of it, so I can play it in the next year.
You know what? Maybe that's what we should do when we retire. We'll make like a vinyl record of Jan saying attention teams.
Attention teams. Or First Blood!
There you go. It just tracks like that. Oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
Amazing.
You know, they confiscated my microphone last year because I was deafening people.
Yeah, he kept if you were there, he kept pushing the volume up. We had it set perfectly, and he would just attention teams, and we'd be like, Jan, what is going on?
Yeah, the whole floor is vibrating when he.
So you know Zardus in your bones is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I apologize. I try to fight against his worst instincts, but there's only so much I could do.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
You're a very nice person.
Yes, thank you for saying that. All I would say is that it's a big, giant ball of chaos, and everyone is, pulling in different directions, and somehow.
Yeah, it's almost like there's something that starts that chain reaction that's moving around incredibly fast. I wonder who on our team that could be.
Exactly. I don't know. We might never know.
We may never know. Amazing. So then how do you roughly how many people are we talking about, organizing? Can you give us a rough idea?
I think just 4 or 5 of us.
For the whole team?
Being the organizers.
The organizers for the command center.
Yes.
And then
as a commander, I think there are not many people. Maybe only 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. And for me, I think the main job as a commander is try to pull all those people out from the old challenges and put them in the new challenge. That's a very important job. And it's very hard to do that.
Yeah, I bet. So as a commander, are you actively working on challenges? Do you look at a challenge long enough to know what it is so you can figure out who to move? What's your process like?
Yeah, I will look at the challenges first and see who is the most suitable one for working on this challenge. And I will ask him to out from the old one. And also, when they are solving the challenges, I will walk around and see their progress. And I will try to arrange different people to work on different ways to solve that challenge. And some people can try to play or try to fuzzing with that challenge, and some people can try to reverse that.
I see. Great. So you're not actually solving challenges yourself, right? You're dedicated to maintaining the team, right?
Actually, I try to maintain this commander role only for half of the game, and after that, we are short of people. So, yeah, I put myself into solving one of the challenges.
Good. So a new challenge comes out, you look around, there's nobody. You just got to solve it yourself. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, you got to lead from the front sometimes. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I remember there are 5 challenges in the meantime when the Parallel AF and the IHG, the pinball and five challenges in
Casino Life. Yeah, 5 challenges.
Yeah, and I think maybe some other teams they didn't move enough people to the new challenge like the IHG and so we have this command center and we can arrange the suitable people to the new challenge. So I think we are benefit from it. Yeah.
So that is quite an advantage. I mean, that's not just like raw technical skill. That's strategic, like not even just strategy within the team, which most of the time I think in CTF that's where strategy ends. It's strategy far beyond it, thinking of other people's human resources and how they might be utilizing them.
It's almost like it's like a metagame strategy optimization level almost, right? Like how do you can have the best hackers in the world, but like you said, if there's 5 problems and they're only working on one, you're not going to do very well.
And if I remember correctly, did you dominated RHG, especially early on, right?
Yeah. Okay. We'll get in closer, I think, in a bit to the actual how the game went. So this is amazing. So then maybe we can shift over, Silver, to networking, right? So we saw that you released that awesome redirection controller on GitHub. Did you set up any other cool infrastructure while you were preparing for DEF CON CTF?
Maybe we can just share how our infrastructure works. Actually, I was drawing a new topology on Askflow, but so I'll just you can imagine it in your head. So we are in China, right? So and your server is located in the US West, the West US. Correct. So we have to set 2 different gateways at the China and the US, and they are connected using. I'm not sure how it works. Maybe MPR with VPN, maybe some QoS promise magic, or maybe anyway, it's magic. I don't know how it works because they are provided by some cloud networking components. Mm-hmm. All our servers are hosted on the Tencent cloud, so we are not using any physical servers in this game, and all our players, no matter they are from China or from USA, actually we have some people in US, so they will dial into their own VPN server, and the VPN server is connected to the gateway, and all other servers, including the traffic controller and the jump box, is connected with the gateway. So gateway will forward any traffic. So at the gateway, we have observed about 200 gigabytes of traffic during 3 days, 48. Oh,
yeah, I know. It's like 3.5 or something weird.
How long it was? Yeah. Anyway, it's painful.
And you didn't save all that data locally, right? That's not why you're having disk space problems? I'm just kidding.
Oh, no.
I'm just teasing. You saved it to your machine. That's why you're having disk space
the
problems.
disk is kind of expensive, so we decided not. We actually limited. Yeah, we actually limited the VPN between China and the US because this VPN is pretty expensive considering how how China network works. So this has a basic networking infrastructure, and in previous CTF games, including the DEF CON 25, 26, and including 27, we have an internal platform written by other team members. Actually, either he wrote a platform called Polaris, and Polaris we didn't. We still have no plan to open source it because there are some internal components haven't removed completely. And however, it was pretty. The way he wrote it is pretty interesting. He's using an online markdown editor, which can sync between different users, and have a framework attached to it, so it can assign different markdown documents to different problems, and it also provides API so we can write a bot to watch the team interface and then add challenges or upload the gaming score. And Polaris also provides some interesting function, including actually here our function called railgun. Is a gun.
Yeah. The so shooter. Every team has a shooter. So what? Why don't you describe a shooter so that people don't think we're being super weird? What is the point of a shooter in a CTF?
It's used to send out bullets so it can get flagged from other teams.
Beautiful. Yeah. So just a thing that like you can either drop. I don't know how your guys' works, but the idea is you can drop either a file, executable, Python script, something, and it will the shooter will fire that at every other team. It's Python?
Yeah, it's Python script.
Nice.
Everyone is using pontoons, including those people who wrote web exploits. It's pretty useful.
Except for your redirection controller, I saw that's JavaScript.
Yeah, the redirection controller is, let me think. The first conception of it is, I have read it about 24 hours before the game starts. So I wrote the backend and space using
amazing.
Yeah, TypeScript, and space is using also using TypeScript to write our front end, and we also have our interface designer. So the redirect controller is pretty simple. It's located on the jump box, not
Your
provided
box,
by
right? Yeah.
OO. We actually copied the. Yeah. We have our own jump box, so we can
that.
run
and you
some
didn't want
other
us to
stuff
see
on
all
it.
your stuff, right, and get access to it.
Yeah. Actually, the principle of the redirection controller is very simple. It's just some epitable rules. We didn't want to use net filter because I don't think any other else want to maintain their net filter.
Yeah, so the redirection controller, the concept was very cool, right? So the whole thing is we changed the game so that you could, rather than us deciding when PCAPs were released to the teams, right? A team could decide to send traffic either to a stealth port or a normal port. And if they sent it to the normal, exactly, yeah. So then your redirection controller was, when I saw it, was very cool and very smart, because then the exploit writers don't have to worry about running it, and your shooter doesn't even have to run. You could then just change and toggle which, if you want to go stealth or non-stealth.
Yeah, because everyone is in the VPN, and their traffic will all go through the jump box. So it works.
That's
our target is making it work.
That's very impressive. I think what you've seen from the data is that a lot of teams approach this in an ad hoc way, and they lost a lot of potential points. There are teams that lost significant points in the game because of they just shot all the traffic through a stealth port, or none of the traffic through a stealth port. Whereas it seems your strategy was really configurable.
Yeah.
And centrally configurable.
Yeah, actually, our first primary target is not to make it elegant. Our primary target as the DevOps guy is to make it work. So, including the scoreboard, we also set a Grafana instance, so we can send the scoreboard to Grafana and plot our own map. So it's easier for us to watch in which round how many points did we get or lost in the attack, defense, or QH. And speaking about the misuse of stealth ports, I remember Tianyi have done an analysis after the game ended, after you have read all those tick status. Maybe he can talk something about
actually, I write a Python script to parse all the JSON data you have released.
Yeah.
And also those stealth port information, and try to redraw all the map or the image of the whole game. And we discovered a lot of interesting things when we dig into every challenge. And I think maybe Gengming can introduce them. Yeah, many interesting things.
I keep waiting for you to say a mistake. That's what I kept waiting for. Like a bug or mistake on our side. I kept waiting. I'm like, oh gosh.
The best testers are the players themselves. We can test everything we can test, but and then
we've told this story where our first year, DEF CON 26, with this shirt, when the first day PPP came up to us, I think it was Brian, and he's like, your scoring does not match what your algorithm says, like on the website. And we're like, and I'm just literally brain dead at this time. I just looked at him and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to fix that later. Like, I can't even think right now. Like, thanks for letting me know. So sorry, go ahead. Please tell us more about this, the stealth port analysis.
So the first issue, I think, the slot machine and the PvP has exceeded the 100 flags. And so in the so did you guys remove the point they gained in this tick?
No, that's that was a good. I think what actually honestly happened is that service sloot machine was going to be retired right when Jan and I were going live on the on our DEF CON interaction times.
Yeah,
and
the recap.
Exactly, the recap that we did live during the game. Recap. This is part of why in our post-mortem we said that doing that live during a game was a mistake because of things like that. Is we were very good about watching it because we didn't have a hard, turn it off right at 600 flags.
It wasn't automated.
Right, it was all manual.
We had the rule, but that was all manual, yeah.
So the behind the scenes is Jan and I are talking on Discord. It's getting recorded. Suddenly it pops into my head that like, oh no, has anyone done that? I start pinging people on Slack, like, is anyone going, like, has anyone stopped this service? And then, we look at the stuff and they're like, oh no, what do we do? And so like, I leave the Discord chat and I'm just like, Jan, I have to go.
So Adam just vanishes and I just have to keep babbling for a while.
As you can tell, he's very good at babbling. So then I go back to the team, we shut it down. And then, when we looked later, we're like, oh yeah, they got a round more of flags basically because they got past whatever the 600 mark was. But at the end of the day, it didn't affect things.
615, but yeah.
So you shut down the service manually?
We have a button in our own interface to retire the service, but we didn't we don't like hard coding those kinds of things. We like it to be manual just in case something goes horribly wrong with the automation. So we had that be a manual process. And then there's a little bit of there's problems where you have a discrete event like the service is down, right? So if you do that in the middle of a tick, you essentially have to invalidate all the flags submitted during that tick because the service has to be considered inactive during that tick. So then you have to be very careful about watching it so you make sure it goes down right during the right tick and not too early. So
it's a little bit of brittleness that we need to work on probably for next year, but it's for the most part, except for that one. I think there was another challenge where we ended up with 602 flags as the maximum, but Sloot Machine is the one that went over.
No, but that was fine because it was.
We found that in the IHG, you just stop the game exactly when we get 600 flags. We don't know how he achieved that.
Yes, that one. That's just how it worked out. You hit the 600 flags on a round boundary, and we shut the service down.
Exactly. So like the
600, it was all manual. Just sometimes we got luckier than other times
because we couldn't shut it off.
Which was one of the challenges. Like Adam said, we're kind of afraid of automation going wrong, and if it, I think it's not ideal that one service gets 615 flags, another gets 600, but it happens. You guys just happen to get exactly like in the middle of the round or in the end of the round.
I think Jan is maybe still talking.
And in IHG, that we have different approach to get flag from the different teams, and some teams they didn't fix the bugs, and so we can get the flag directly. And so, but for PvP, we have to attack them,
kill them
in the game. We have to kill them. But in that tick, we are it is shut down when we are trying to attack the PvP, and so we didn't get their flag in that tick.
Bummer. Yeah, we were wide like Rayammer. He wrote that service, and he was. When you first killed BBB, he was screaming on our audio conference. It was just like, holy shit, they figured it out. They're killing them. They killed them.
Well, like everyone here knows, right? One of the worst feelings and fears you have as an organizer is that they're not going to figure out the challenge, or it's either too easy or something, right? So you never quite know until it actually hits reality how it's going to go. That's a really good point. Cool. So speaking of preparation, I think I had this question because I know it's something that's near and dear to Jan's heart. Have there been instances, either DEF CONs or other CTFs, where you've prepared cool network infrastructure and then you show up and then it's basically useless?
Oh yeah, I think there are many. Okay, I will answer the question.
Tell us your favorite.
Yeah. Oh, I think around the beginning of 2020, we have listed some with interesting targets to prepare. For example, like WebAssembly or like Rust, or maybe some different option system like FreeBSD or things like that.
That's right.
And we just asked our teammates, choose one topic you are interested, and you just get to know how it works, or maybe basically just get familiar with it. And you can, if possible, you can try to make a CTF challenge with this topic. And maybe we'll encounter it just in this year's DevCon. So, but this all the fields are just useless in this CTF, except AI.
Nice.
I have learned some AI concepts. Just in this year 2020, and in this year finals, there are AI change again. So, but other fields, they are not in CTF, but basically, I think they are also useful in some security researchers. Some of them, they write some like help scripts for Rust, for better Rust decompilation, and
that's awesome.
Just they write some tools like that.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's a good way to prepare. I think my very first DEF CON, I was had just joined Shellfish, but this was back in 2006 or 2007 when I didn't even really know the name of the group and I didn't really understand what DEF CON was. I'd taken an undergrad security course, and then Giovanni invited me to his hacking group, and we were preparing, and he just puts a list up of like operating systems, and he's like, we need virtual machines to be able to run all of these because we have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. So who's going to do what? And it was a very similar thing, but it was just the DevOps part. I mean, it was just like make sure we have this OS in case we need it. Jan, would you like to share your story about an instance where your preparation was useless?
Yes, I will share it as a cautionary tale.
I don't think it's a cautionary tale, but please go on.
Well, it depends on which story you're thinking about. Okay. So the one I'll share is this. I think it was DEF CON 2011, right? I had just started as a PhD student in 2010. And for DEF CON 2011, we spent all summer preparing this incredible, impenetrable defense. Nowadays, it would be what's termed as a Superman defense. It was basically a combination of traffic redirection, an instrumented FreeBSD kernel, because at that time, this was DD Tech, all DEF CON was FreeBSD all the time, an instrumented FreeBSD kernel with crazy amounts of tracing and syscall introspection and all of this to just basically make challenges unexploitable. The idea was that we would move all the challenges over and we would proxy queries back to the original machine so that it still looked like they were running there and so forth. And we showed up and we plug into the network and it's all fucking IPv6. It's all IPv6, right? Instead of IPv4, which all the same CTFers until then used, but suddenly everything is IPv6. And the way that IPv6 was implemented at the time in Linux, redirection, like what we were trying to do, was insanely hard.
Yeah.
Right? And so we spent 2 days trying to redirect traffic to our sandbox. Mm-hmm. Failed. I think we actually got it kind of working eventually, but by then it was just too late, and we were just debugging live and abandoned the whole thing. So the entire summer of writing this insane super defense system, gone.
Speaking about IPv6, actually our network infrastructure prepared a lot of things for IPv6.
Nice.
We thought maybe you will use IPv6 this year.
Who knows?
And we thought we set up everything, including NAT64 or 4in6 or all those. And none of them is useful.
Yeah, this is exactly, Jan has these scars from that experience. So I remember being in the hotel room with him, the big suite, and he's just like, "What? It's IPv6. Nothing works. How can we do this? We have this beautiful, the best defense system." And I think the other thing is you wasted like a day trying to get it working, right?
Yeah.
When you should have been working on challenges.
Yeah. After that.
So this is our IPv6
exactly.
Exactly. Yes.
After this, my strong suggestion was, if you have defenses that don't work out of the box, like we abandon them, right? Or preparations. I think that leads to a less painful experience. But the crazy thing as organizers, we can't do that. If something doesn't work, we have to fix it.
Cool. Okay, so then, moving into closer and closer into DEF CON 28 CTF. So the game was, remote, like we said, which was very unique. We talked about the awesome networking setup that you had to deal with that. How did your team, adjust to the circumstances of being remote? How did you handle the shifts? Did you have anything planned for that?
Yeah, I think actually we feel quite good about this arrangement. We just need to prepare a dedicated internet line and to connect to the game server smoothly. And I think we don't need to suffer from the jet lag or some communication border. As I remember in past years, so some of our team members had to stay in China due to some visa issues or other stuff. So we have to separate the teams into two groups, and one in Las Vegas and one in Shanghai. So the communication between these two groups are quite inconvenient, and there are also a time zone issue. So when people in Las Vegas wake up, so the people in Shanghai, they are in the middle of the night. For this year, so we don't have to deal with these issues. So this time, and I think we take up a whole floor of our office building.
And so you were able to meet in person. That's awesome.
Yeah, we can meet in person in China maybe. Yeah. And there are many big meeting rooms, so people who are working on the same challenges, they can gather together in the same meeting room, and their discussion will go more smoothly. And I think the only thing that bothers us is this 17-hour shift period. We can understand that you have to make this game fair for CTF players in different time zones. We can fully understand that. But we still feel that this 17-hour period is quite anti-human.
Definitely.
For myself, I cannot even tell the day and night during the CTF. Just going to sleep anytime you feel exhausted, and come back to the game when you wake up. I feel like I've just traveled around the globe after the CTF, and as I remember, it was early morning in Shanghai when the game ends, and I looked outside the window and said, "Hey, look, the sun is setting." And then after a while, I realized that the sun was just rising.
That's incredible. Yeah, hopefully, this
we
won't
have
be necessary
several.
in the future.
We have several beds in the same floor. We can sleep when we are tired. Yeah.
Oh, awesome! That is cool.
That's incredible. Wow. Yeah, that sounds like a really good setup. Maybe we should host DEF CON CTF from your offices.
I mean, it sounds way better than Vegas, to be perfectly honest.
In DEF CON 27, things were actually really good. But just to give you an idea, really good means we had a room where we could put the server rack and keep working. But the room was about the size of this room here. for the entire OO, right? Like, so I don't remember, 12, 13 people just
corner, like server rack, like laptops, and then we didn't have wireless because we didn't want wireless.
But it's also the best setup. Yeah, it was the best setup under the circumstances because DEF CON, you have to fit everything in this giant conference.
30,000 plus people.
They actually gave us the best possible.
So you are really bring
the
servers.
closest room to the
yeah,
CTF
yeah, please.
So we could, but that's how it works. Sorry, Silver, I interrupted you.
I just want to ask. So you really bring physical servers to the Caesars last year?
Yes.
How many servers?
So Adam, do you want to talk about the mini rack? Because you're the mini rack.
I'm trying to add it up in my head. We have two
4-node guys. That's 8 cores.
They're 4 nodes and
servers.
2 U's, and then we have.
And each server has like 24 cores.
Yeah, and then we have like 4 or 5 similar servers that are Dell servers that were pretty beefy that we bought. And then we run basically an entire like Kubernetes cluster. Well, 2 of them technically.
Yeah. I see. So it would not be very easy to set up the whole rack from. I remember you were in the. Sorry, I can't pronounce the city name.
Phoenix. Yeah, no worries.
Oh, yes.
Phoenix.
Yeah, so I assembled that rack.
It could be very hard to. Yeah. It would be not easy.
Exactly. Yeah, so we assemble it beforehand, and then that way, we set it up so that everyone can be remote and access it, and then we also try to meet in Vegas for a week. So last year we rented a house so we could all be together for a full week before the CTF. And we drive the server rack up there. And so then in the house, it's really nice and everyone can work on it. And then, because, we're terrified of having to rely on cloud services during the CTF, right? And so we really don't want to take on that risk of just like, if you were there for DEF CON 26, we didn't think to ask about the internet in the CTF room. We didn't know that was something we should ask about. And so when we had very low uplink, we were very surprised as well. So
not just us, also the teams were very surprised.
Of course, the teams were very surprised, but as organizers, we were surprised on their behalf. So
it's tricky, and we have to prepare kind of for all eventualities. The amazing thing when I was playing is that you could show up and all of your preparations could go to shit, could go badly, and then you could still, get something done. But as organizers, if our servers don't work, it's game over.
It's very bad.
Literally. That's interesting. Man, now we've hit this topic twice. How we got the rack to Vegas the first year.
Okay, fine. I'll tell the story very briefly. So I assembled this rack. So I'm not a network server IT person. I'm a web hacker. I just do whatever needs to be done, right? So we bought the rack. I assembled it in Phoenix. I assembled all the servers, installed them all. And the difficult thing was, a lot of the people, even in our lab, are playing with Shellfish. So I can't really ask for their help. So it's mainly just me and Jan doing all this stuff. Yeah. We literally spent half a day just installing memory into the servers and installing the racks into the servers into the rack. And so our first year, Jan and I ourselves drove the thing up. So we rented a big truck, like a moving truck. And so we wheeled the servers up there with some of our students' help, tied it. One of our students is did his army service in the South Korean army. And so he just went to town on the ropes, tying the rack to the side of this inside of the truck.
Okay.
And so Jan and I drive 4 or 5 hours. And at this point, we didn't realize what we were getting into, and we were just very excited. And so we tell people, hey, we're going to be outside Caesars because this is where the rack needs to go. And at that point, we didn't have a command room or anything. One of the guys was already there. And so we took it to his hotel room. So we tell him and the other guy, hey, meet us. And I don't want to say their names in case they don't want to, be known for these things. So
say their handles probably.
Odo and Balzarat. So they meet us in front of Caesars. So, there's Caesars Palace. It's a swanky hotel.
Yeah.
We drive up to the very front of it in our moving truck with like a ramp. It even has a ramp out, right? And then so the two guys meet us. We open the thing, we look in, and there's nuts and bolts and screws just on the ground. The server rack is like this because two of the wheels, it had vibrated so much that the bolts and everything just fell off. Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know there are special screws you can do that like do this. So we just look at this, we're like, and we look kind of back through the door.
It can
and
be
we
really
just see like lines of cars behind us, and we're just like, well, we've got to do this. So we just start going. I think Balzarat just goes down and starts like screwing things back in and like reassembling this rack, but there's still servers there. So we're having to lift up this rack while the wheels are just being put on so we can have wheels. We only had 2 out of 4 wheels. Anyways, so we wheel the thing down, pick up all the missing parts, and then take this up to the room. And while I'm doing that, I tell Zardus, hey, park the car, like figure out where the car goes. So do you want to tell this part now?
Yeah, absolutely. So finally we get the rack out, right? And at this point the valet, the Caesar's person that's there is really upset at us because we need to get this U-Haul out of their hotel. And I said, listen, where can I park this? And he said, I have no idea, man. I mean, go talk to the guy, the head valet. He's down there. So I go to the head valet and I say, hey, how's it going? I'm with DEF CON and I need to park this U-Haul somewhere for the weekend. And he said, well, I don't know where you can park it, but you could go down, take that turn to the other valet, and there's the head valet, and you can talk to them. And I'm like, cool, what's your name? And he gives me his name. I don't remember now, but let's say Mark, right? Thank you, Mark. I drive over to the head valet. I pull in, and I see the head valet comes out. It says, hey, can I help you? Because I'm driving a U-Haul. And I said, hey, I'm with DEF CON. And Mark down at the main valet said that I could park this truck here for the weekend. And he said, well, we don't have any spaces big enough for this truck. But if you go and park in the main employee lot, I'll write a note that the truck shouldn't be towed. And so we parked. When you pull into the casino, there's this huge like tower or whatever with the spinning logo. We parked right under it, literally under that, with like the employees and everything. And I pulled in there, and there's someone manning the gate there. And I said, I don't remember the other guy's, the head valet's name, maybe Jim. And I said, okay, Jim had told me that I could park this here. And it was just complete social engineering all the way into being able to park.
We were kind of worried. Truck. So he tells me the story like the next day. He didn't even tell it right away. It was just kind of, we were talking about like going back and getting the car or something, and he tells me the story, and I'm like, Jan, the truck may not be there. Like, this is a rental. We rented this moving truck. And so, the Monday after DEF CON, we go there, and thankfully the truck was still there.
Yeah,
and
okay. Maybe you want to edit the whole social engineering stuff out in case of any trouble.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. It was awesome. I love pulling up. Mark said I can park this here. And it works out. And they were very, very helpful, actually. And you know what? We were with DEF CON. We needed to park that thing somewhere.
It wasn't a lie. Nothing, was really a lie. So, yeah, it's great. Awesome. Okay, so, divergence into and tangents into DEF CON 26, moving the server rack problems aside. Okay, so we talked a lot about kind of the lead up to DEF CON 28 CTF. So then can you, walk us through DEF CON 28 CTF? It doesn't have to be, minute by minute, but what kind of, what was your experience like?
Okay, I will start first.
Yeah.
At the game beginning, actually, we saw 2 challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is casino life, and we work well on that one. And the other one is parallel AF, and we are really start there and suffered a lot from that challenge.
Why are you looking at me? I don't know why.
Yeah. So actually, some of our group, they are trying to reverse to understand the challenge, and me and the other people, we are playing around the shell and trying to find the interesting things, and we are using strace to debug the program. Yeah, every time maybe you can type in RM, and you will see that the program caused an unlinked syscall, and there are some connections between them. And we put a lot of time into that challenge, but we actually got merely nothing from that one.
No, we got 6 tick points that scores.
Right at the end.
And after that, yes. And do you know how did we manage to write the exploit?
No, I haven't looked at any of that
in the parallel yet. Actually, we don't know the logic of the binary, and we just guess from the PCAPs, and we found that it is there is no SRAND in the binary, so we think there is no random seed in the so the only thing which is different is the time zone, and we do something with the timestamp. Sorry, the timestamp, and we do something with the timestamp, and we just we don't know the logic, but we just guess from the PCAP, and we find the exploit. Yeah.
So that's great. So you were able to kind of get that backdoor attack traffic from other people's PCAPs, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. So then this is a good, example of whoever you stole that from, right? Maybe they should or should not have sent that to you on a stealth port so that they wouldn't have been giving their exploit away to you.
I think it is interesting because when I checked the traffic, I saw that the cycle first attack some teams in the normal port, but attack the AoE and some. I remember it's only 3 teams in the stealth port, and the PvP, and they attack all the teams in the stealth port, but they found that the cycle had got more scores than them, so they changed their traffic to the normal port, and so we got the attack traffic. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's this emergent interaction is very interesting, and a common strategy for the stealth ports was to stealth up the teams that were ahead of you in ranking. You stealth against them, and then you don't stealth against the teams down.
Which is then funny because you're gambling just like this, right? That one of them doesn't figure it out and then leak it to a top team who then takes it quickly and uses it to steal some flags, right?
Which happened.
Exactly. That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think some teams, they will try to doubt if other teams are attacking on the normal port, since they see their points are writing that more than 7.5 every round. So they will start to doubt if they switch to the normal port, so we should do the same thing. And then everyone try to attack on the normal port, and everyone get the traffic.
One team actually contacted us asking if the scoring system was correct because another team got like 8.5 points, right? And so it's like, are they stealthing or are they not? But of course, you can make that decision per team.
Right, per team, exactly, right? That was the...
Yeah. Very cool. So then what then? Let's say moving on to other chows or...
Yeah, then I think there are the RSG is released.
So AI challenging shift.
Yeah, we are very quick on that.
Oh.
Good.
The AI.
In first shift.
Oh, the next one is the AI. Oh, yes.
Roshan. Oh. Yo. Okay, so I'm worked on this one. Since I have do some preparation for just very roughly. In fact, I didn't play with TensorFlow seriously, just in some toy example. But some of our teammates, they have more experience, and I just ask them to play together. But at the beginning, we cannot get the model of other teams. So I think the things are more like interactive with the server, and just like writing some fuzzing tools. I just randomly mutate a picture, and then get the feedback and decide whether to keep this new mutated samples. Yeah.
So you didn't train a replacement model. So actually, to catch up the readers, Rorschach was a black box machine learning challenge on the first day of its release, where you would be able to craft an image to query a network, and you could tell the decision of the network, right? What its confidence was that image belonged to a certain class of images. And then if you got the correct class and that class changed every round, then you would get the flag. So I expected teams to start training the replacement network so that they could attack easily.
Yeah, we just randomly mutate the image. Oh, and I find it worked most of the times. So yeah, and then
that's CTF good.
Yeah.
If it works, it works.
And I think between the shift 1 and shift 2, since we have models and they write better some training scripts. So
awesome. Yeah, you want to talk briefly about the logic behind that shift?
Yeah. So the logic behind the shift was this: that the first day and let's say about half of the challenge's lifespan was supposed to be black box, and these are two different problems in the security of machine learning. One is, how secure can a machine learning model be if your adversary doesn't actually have access to it? And the second one is, how secure does a machine learning model be even if the adversary has access to it? And there are different attacks that an adversary can mount on the network. So I wanted to see first day how the best hackers in the world can attack a black box model, and whether that is evidently randomly generating images, or on other teams they trained a replacement model by querying a bunch of times and then training a model offline, or through whatever other techniques. And then the idea for the shift was to avoid a runaway effect, where, let's say, there are 3 teams that know anything about black box machine learning attacks, and the rest of them know nothing, right? To avoid this runaway effect where those 3 teams just go boom and then everyone else is bored, I switched it about halfway through the challenge's lifetime to have the network be downloadable, to see what defenses and attacks can be enabled with the new style. The idea for my idea had been that defense would be easier with the black box model because only you had access to your model, so you could tell where on the high dimensional space in a neural network the adversarial inputs would land, and then other people couldn't predict where on your high level space they would land. And then I figured the white box would be harder to defend but easier to attack. Is that what you found?
So we saw some team patch. They just check the hash of image.
Yes.
Yeah, and we just retrieve one. So.
Yeah. There were some. I was hoping for things in patching that did not end up happening, unfortunately. And there were some infrastructure problems that harmed that as well. But it is an interesting sort of experience seeing how teams did and didn't patch that. Yeah, it's very cool. What else?
Yeah, any other thoughts on any other challenges or DEF CON CTF experience?
So the next one is the ICT. Yeah, I think.
Yes, I think so.
It released at the start of the second shift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, and I was I worked on this challenge, and I still remember in the last year the AoOL, yeah, that
Yeah.
challenge. Yeah, we spent lots of time on how to get the configuration of yeah of the server, and after the game we go to the PvP's party, and they told us they patched the binary and upload a backdoor, and so they can get it easily. Oh. So we learned from we learned so much from them, and so this time we upload a new binary and get the I remember it's the codes, the file, yeah, and so we know how to play the game, and I think we are the first team to figure out how to read ourselves the flags, and we got the first blood, and after some time the other teams also figured it out, and so we start to drop the flags after we have read it. Yeah, we drop the flag to the ground, and after that I found the other teams also learned. They know how to pick it up and read the flag, and they also know how to drop it, and I found they drop the flag, and then they move to the next and move the player. So we have to so it is more difficult to pick the flag. Yeah, and I remember at that time we start to find how to kill people or do something interesting, and we just randomly to pick everything and try to try different different instruction, and I think we are lucky we find how to kill people, and then we start to find the PvP because they patched their binary and they are the strongest opponent, so we have to kill him. Yeah, and we have maybe 3 or 4 people to kill PvP, and we each one have the control the player because we can steal other teams token, and so we can control their players, and
right.
So when they each round start, we first find who is the most close to the PvP, and so he will responsible to kill him. Yeah. and it is real interesting.
Which sounds mean, but it's actually again another meta strategy, right? Of like you're not just trying to get the most amount of flags and improve your score, you're also trying to push down your competitor's score because you knew that would be the closeness of the game. Yeah, no, that's amazing. And RHG is a challenge that we talked about at the DEF CON, one of our DEF CON recaps. So I'll probably link that in the show notes so people can see that. I have seen, yeah, that's awesome.
And after the second shift, the server is we cannot connect to the server. So we wrote our own server to continue our scripting. Yeah,
yes.
We wrote
exactly what Yannick wanted to happen. 100%. Yeah, when the game went down, I was, because we talk about that a little bit, right? Like, okay, if your service is going to be up over the night, can they actually do something, or is it just useless? And he's like, yeah, they can just write their own server. Awesome. Cool. Any other notable or challenges that stick out to you, or things you want to share?
We don't have to go challenge by challenge, but we can if you guys want.
Yeah, it's up to you all.
So next I really remember there are a lot of challenges coming up, including the Game Boy, BDOS, and the pinball. And yeah, so at that time, the people from people from the Parallel AF challenge, they just get enough rest, and they can start do something. And now they put themselves into Game Boy, and this is another. Yeah, they got a few things from it. And for myself, I'm working on the pinball, and during that shift, and we get very good results, and yeah, we find some memory corruption bugs and try to exploit it to help us to get a lot of scores. So I'm still have a question that is it intended that jackpot points can be earned repeatedly? Since after that, a lot of teams are trying to repeat as many times as possible to win that 4,000 point jackpot.
Yeah, I think that there was some. I don't think it was intended to be able to get jackpot repeatedly over and over and over again. It was intended that you could get it several times.
Once per jackpot, right? There were different jackpots, and you could get.
There were different jackpots, and you can get each one once. But I think there was an unintended bug that led to this repetition.
Which is cool. I mean, because that's kind of the thing, right? Is everything was in bounds as far as what you could do with that challenge.
Yeah, then I'm trying all my best to get more 4,000 score jackpots, and we finally managed to get to nearly 40,000.
Wow.
400,000 maybe.
Yeah, 400,000. Yeah, because our reference solution, Balzerot's reference solution, he wrote the challenge was, I think 50-something thousand, which was the intended, maximum score. Let's say you almost got a whole order of magnitude above that.
Yeah, and it hasn't been released yet, but we do have a podcast that will have already come out by the time this comes out, talking with Jeff about Game Boy. So I think hopefully
that'll be
there'll be a lot of in-depth stuff and talking about that challenge. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So did it feel like? Have you played? I assume you've played real pinball before. So it was like a.
No, I played pinball on that Windows.
This is what I said during the DEF CON recap. I said that. Oh my gosh, amazing! I love it. I also loved that thing as a kid.
Yeah. I played a lot when I was in my childhood.
Yeah, at my uncle's house, he had it on his system, and for some reason we didn't have it on mine. And so when we'd go there, I'd just play pinball on that machine.
Yeah, I think this is the best game in Windows.
Yeah. And for pinball, I have one more question.
Yeah, please.
What is the bonus point if I can get all 5 jackpots? Because I try a lot of to get all those 5, and I still cannot get the first one. And I don't know what is the bonus point like.
I don't remember. We should either ask Balzerot or have him on the podcast to talk about it.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't know off the top of my head. It was, if I remember correctly, it was X 1,000 points, but I don't remember what X was. Yeah.
Okay. So are you going to release the source code of that challenge?
Yeah, we just haven't gotten around to that one. We just have to bug.
Oh, we can't commit to releasing somebody else's thing, right? Like we will do our best to try to push.
My understanding is that he plans to release that.
Yeah. I don't want to go push the button for him, right? Even
we could record me saying yes and record me saying no and just edit the right one.
And I'm still don't know how to get the last jackpot. I think no team has successfully get that one.
I think we should just release, regardless, we'll bug Balzerot to release his reference solution.
Cool.
It involved some really crazy stuff with the input format, where he was overlapping different parts of the file to achieve different things. Just, he's a crazy guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at it, but honestly, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, it's not going to make any sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at this.
It's insane.
It's a notes file that just has random words in it. Some of it's Italian, so I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be running concepts by me like randomly, and I was like, "Yeah, this sounds great, man. I have no idea what's going on." Cool,
awesome.
So, we don't have to keep going challenge by challenge, but if you guys have more you want to talk about, absolutely.
Yeah, I have something to say in the slot machine, and
yeah.
In this challenge, the T deliverers, they got the first blood and they attack us. I think it is because of we are our team ID is one. Is the first, we are the first team. Yeah, and when we look back to the whole game, we found there are so many times we are suffering from We are the only team being attacked in the So I think next year we probably will change our names like the ZZZ AoE ZZZ.
Actually, just kind of a look behind the curtain. It wasn't the name; it was your first spot finish in the qualifier thing. What? Is that true, Adam?
No, it was the name.
No,
it's just the ordering. It's an alphabetical.
Previous year, it was the qualifier.
Yeah, maybe next year we can randomize it, but it does make it better on our dashboards and stuff, so we can see.
So the IPv6 year, or years of DEF CON CTF, IPv6 is of course hexadecimal, and there was one time there were 20 teams or 18 teams or something like that, more than 16. And there was team 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then instead of 10, it went to team A, B, C, D, of course, right? But of course, everyone in their scripts had .1, .2, .3, .4, .5, .6, .7, .8, .9, .10, .11, and there was a .10. That's the thing. It was the whatever. There was a .10, .11. But teams
that was
A,
machine
B, C,
16,
D,
right?
F, yeah, teams A, B, C, D, and E and F. They were super advantaged because no one attacked them, or very few people attacked them because of misconfiguring in the shooters.
That's
so
funny.
This definitely occurs.
That's crazy.
It's just a crazy emergent behavior.
Awesome. So maybe we can go.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else about challenges? We can then teleport to the end, and so you can. Cool. So yeah, can you share with us how did it feel to win DEF CON 28 CTF? Were you watching the closing ceremonies and watching Jan there, trying to talk?
Adam, I think you might have dropped out, but
so
obviously
do you want me to go again? Yeah. Okay.
Go again.
Sorry. I said so. So now we can maybe teleport to the end. So were you watching the final stream of the DEF CON closing ceremonies with Zardus there, drinking were you drinking beer at that point?
I was drinking Guinness. It was Guinness time.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
So you're sitting. Were you guys? So was everyone watching that stream, or didn't know the sun was coming up or down, so you were just sleeping?
So sorry.
Were you watching the live stream?
Yeah. The stream at the ceremony.
Yeah, the closing ceremonies.
然后问题是啥呀？我刚没。
Yeah, I can still hear you speaking.
No one remembers, of course.
Oh yes, we all gathered together in the meeting room to watch the ceremony.
No way! The whole team. So the team was watching, and you saw how close it was, right? You saw that like multiple times in that day, you and PPP overtook each other. It was an insane war of attrition there.
And you can see why Jan is the face of Order of the Overflow, because he had that brilliant part where even I was watching and I knew who won. And I'm sitting there and he's like, yeah, and then, but first I'm going to show you this video of them playing. And I'm sitting there going, I want to know who won. Like, announce it.
it was amazing to see from our end, because like we knew when the game ends, and we could run projections, but of course the projections, especially with dynamic challenges like nude was constantly changing, and who was scoring what
exactly.
as teams found and exploited new vulnerabilities, and especially as they decided who to stealth and not stealth attack. And it was like impossible to predict until the very end. It was absolutely incredible. So hopefully you got watching that stream some of the same sort of heart racing suspense right up until that very final part. How did it feel? Exactly. How did it feel to
Oh.
Who's
classic Zardus. So I will take over. So how did it feel in that moment? Are you back, my friend?
Yeah, we feel really excited that everyone is shouting, and I think Gengming he's the most excited one, and I think he can introduce him.
Yeah, and I remember I had some stuff at my hand, and I just yeah. And it's morning. It is already the morning in Shanghai, and the other meeting room they are start there, and it is Monday, and they started the meeting, and we are just shouting, wow, and when we open the door and everyone is watching us. So what are you doing in your room?
Oh, that's so cool!
Amazing.
Yeah, and I remember the score, and maybe at the end with the GPs get more close to us, and at that time, actually we have shot before it end, but after that we saw GP is coming, and we stopped everything, and just like this and finally we they stop, and we start shouting again.
Amazing.
That's so cool.
Amazing.
Yeah. So we're super happy that you won. We're bummed that you didn't get the experience of walking on stage at the final ceremony. So we could have, been there to shake your hand, give you your black badges, and celebrate you there. But hopefully it still felt just as sweet and just as great as it should have. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, if you make it to next DEF CON, and next DEF CON's held in person, maybe you can do a quick CTF award ceremony.
There you go. I like that. But this isn't to say that you're holding their black badges hostage for a whole year, are you?
No, definitely not. The moment they're ready to ship, they will be out. Or the moment we figure out.
Cool. So what did the victory mean for the team? So you talked about what it felt like, but now you've had a chance to kind of reflect and look back. So what did it mean for your team?
I think that for the team it's a really important result, and we actually make history. It is the first time that in history a Chinese CTF team win the championship of DEF CON CTF.
Amazing.
And everyone of us are really excited about it.
Yeah.
And as I remember, I was holding a can of Coke, full of Coke, and when I see the results, and I can't stop myself to drink all that Coke at once. Yeah.
Amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah, it is well deserved too. I mean, you've been super close a number of times, and you've been almost always right up at the top of the scoreboard, toward the top of the scoreboard. So this is a well deserved, win and on a long trajectory of awesome.
And it shows how competitive the top tier of CTF is, right? So that's we had in our our brief. So far 3-year tenure, right? We had DEF COR Root and PvP, and now AoE on top. So yeah, it's super cool to see that it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's a mix, and there's always the same awesome people there that help push each other to new heights.
Yeah, and something I said, I was on talking at a panel recently, and I was asked, like, you know, about the winners, the distribution of winners at DEF CON. I said it's amazing to see, like Adam said, you know, different teams from different places winning year after year, right? Because the CTF community, as I see it, is a global community. It's not, you know, when you're at the CTF after party in Vegas, it's all one group of people essentially. We're all, you know, hackers, nerds, and crazy people that,
yep.
you know, CTF instead of sleeping or instead of, you know, like relaxing. So it's awesome to see that spread,
and I think Jan,
right? That CTF.
Exactly.
That
and I think the really interesting thing is when people listen to this, and we just probably before this, we'll release a podcast about Dropship AI, where we had on 3 members of PPP, Jay, Corwin, and Matt. And a lot of their stories about getting into CTFs were exactly the same as yours, right? Even actually the same timing, which is kind of crazy. They all got in around 2014 into CTFs. And so, you know, seeing like people from all around the world that get hooked into CTF and love learning about things and applying that to CTFs is beautiful. I mean, I absolutely love it. So yeah, it's fantastic. So, you know, definite congratulations to you all. You definitely earned this. So does this mean, so you've already now, you're the first team to qualify for DEF CON 29 CTF. So does this mean you just relax for the next year and you just cruise through the first season?
Oh yeah. So there's no if. You guys will make it, of course.
Maybe we will change our name first.
There you go. Put the star first. Add another star. Oh wait, that doesn't change it. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that still sorts them first.
Amazing. Okay, so yeah, so now maybe we can kind of end on a note. I like to, you know, on that note, you've reached the pinnacle of CTF, right? The top of the top. You've done something that very few people on earth can say that they've done. You've won DEF CON CTF. What tips do you have that you can maybe share with others of how to approach CTFs and how to get into CTFs? I think that's, you know, it's important for who's going to inspire the next silver to get into CTFs, right? So anybody want to take that?
Yeah, I think that a very important thing is to start from basics.
Mm-hmm.
You must have to master all those basics in computer science and in security. And you have to think in hacker's way.
Develop that hacker mind that we talked about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so many
Keep
cheats.
curious and keep hacking.
Keep hacking. Yeah, that's great advice. Awesome. Anybody else have wisdom to share?
Maybe someone who wants to join CTF, just start with some like Portable KR or WASP or some other, you know, training set would be pretty helpful. And I think the most important is you should brave. You should not be afraid of thinking about what if I crash something. What if, yeah, you got a bonus if you crash something. Yeah, don't be afraid. If you want to try something, just try it. Do not mind the cost. Do not mind what will happen and what will not happen. Just try.
Amazing.
Just do it.
Yeah, unless the crashing is Jan's browser while we're trying to do a podcast, but you know.
Yeah,
How does this constantly happen to me? And I didn't think that it would happen twice. I should have been enabled some
it's
introspection.
Good, man. We just keep going. Cool. Any more advice for people?
Anyways,
getting into CTF.
Yeah, and I think CTF is really a long journey. So just like us, we played more than 6 years, I think. Yeah, and last year we only got the 4th place in DEF CON, and we are really upset. And And I think you should have a strong body to play with CTF. Yeah, because the DEF CON you have to fight for 49 hours and you can only sleep only a very few hours. Yeah, so you really need a strong body. Yeah.
That's good. Sound mind, sound body. I like that, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, please go ahead.
So maybe I also should tell you something. And I think I just want to stress them to start playing CTF. During university, I saw some students they are interested in playing CTF, but they always hesitate to start do it. Maybe they think that they have not prepared it well. But I think you can just learn. You need to learn it by playing it, and so make more practice, and you will find it is very interesting, have fun, and learning something as well.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
And I think it's important to drive home for the viewers that these are through their victory and their team's victory in DEF CON CTF, AoE, including these 4 amazing hackers, have cemented their place among the best hackers in the world, right? Like, this is the height of cybersecurity competition, and it's their advice of just get into it, right? That's the thing. No one here said, well, I was raised by, computer monks from, the time I was 3 and so forth. No, they got into CTF. They got dragged to a competition by a friend or something, and now they are virtually on stage at the, in front of the world on a global event. So I think it's important to drive home that in these sort of things, you just have to jump in and swim, and eventually you'll
That's great,
get
Jan.
to the other
Cool.
end.
Anybody have anything they'd like to plug? Any cool CTFs to talk about? This is your time to plug whatever things you think people should check out.
Yeah, we invite people to come to our Zero CTF, TCTF final. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yep. Yeah.
When is it? Where is it?
26 this month.
Awesome. Okay, great.
Yes.
September 26th. Yeah, very cool. And of course, details can be reachable through CTF time.
Awesome. Anything else? Cool. All right. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. We really appreciated having all of you on. This was, I think, a really good opportunity for us to kind of, get to know the winners of DEF CON 28 CTF. So I'm Adam D. You can find me on Twitter at Adam Dupay. He's Zardus. You can find him on Twitter at Zardus. We're CTF Radio, and you can find us online on YouTube and Twitter at CTF Radio with 3 O's. You can send us questions through email at ctfradio@gmail.com. And who knows, your questions may end up on a future episode of CTF Radio. So take care and happy hacking. See y'all.